So recently, I'm watching the news and looking at different outlets, and I heard people saying they are systematically destroying our country. That's what they said. They said, we must stand up and we must fight because they are systematically destroying our country. Now we're gonna unpack that. By the way, I'm Dr. Yoshiyahu Dawi, been in Israel, and I'm Mori, which means teacher at the Awakening Remnant Coalition. Our mission and our goal and our effort is to help wake up the remnant of the house of Israel and companions to turn back to our King and to our covenant before it's everlasting too late. And we are full-time ministry, as most of you all know, and we exist and are able to do what we do because generous people support this work. And so we appreciate if you like these messages that you will support us. That is our only means of support. So we thank you for it. But yeah, I hear that. And matter of fact, you keep hearing it a lot. They are systematically destroying our country. So first of all, let's define, or can we define, systematically? The word systematically. That's what they say. They're systematically destroying our country. They're systematically destroying our nation. They're systematically destroying the Constitution or whatever. So the word is systematic. And they keep using that word over and over and over again. And just for the sake of this video, I want to focus primarily on that first word, systematically. And if you listen to it, even in English, when you start talking about systematically, you can hear in the English the word system. I know. That's my job, and I'm proud. I'm happy to do it. I'm grateful. Abba Yah has allowed me this privilege to help you see some things and understand. So when you take the word systematically and just take off the suffix, you get the word system. So then there is obviously in the statement an acknowledgement of the fact that there is a system. There is a system. And this system is at work, doing something. All right, so there's a system. Let's understand that. So what's a system? When you get ready to attempt to accomplish a task, when you get ready to attempt to accomplish a feat, or when you get ready to take on a particular type of a challenge, in order to be successful 99.9% of the time, you have to approach what you're doing systematically, which means you must look at the situation and observe the situation. You must look at the situation and be able, what's the word I'm looking for? You gotta be able to see the whole picture so that you can develop a plan of attack or a particular approach in order to accomplish what it is you're trying to do. And when you set up an approach or you have an idea of how you're going to do a particular thing, and you decide where you want to start, and then what the end result is going to be, what you've done then is set up a system. You've set up a system. You've set up a chain of action. You set up some type of beginning, middle, and end. So it's a system. And you say, this is the way we're going to approach it here, and then this is going to cause this, and then we'll do it like this, and then this causes this, and then this causes this, and this is called this, and eventually we reach our goal. So oftentimes when we talk about something as a system, a lot of times when you look at a system and realize that it has a lot of moving parts and a lot of different, beginning and everything works together, oftentimes to understand what a system is about, you have to go to the end game and go, okay, so what is the end game of it? So what is the final result that we want? And whatever the final result is that we want to achieve, we have to then go to the very final result and then back up and set up a system to get us there. So once the system is in place and we or you or whoever, we begin to work the system, there does come a point in which you pass the point of no return. And hopefully, if you set it up right, that once you pass the point of no return, then whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, as you get closer to the end, it ought to get easier and easier. Why? Because in the beginning is when you got to first start the system. And then it keeps working and working and working and working and working until you finally get to the end. By the time it gets to the end, it should be easy. All right? I can use any illustration right now, but for now, I'm not going to go into a bunch of illustrations, but it doesn't really matter what it is. You know what? Now just a bunch of illustrations popped in my head. Of course, I got 3 daughters. 2 baby daughters. Well, they're not babies now, they're grown up, but I have always, because they all got a gang of hair, a whole lot of hair, right? And it doesn't matter if it's their sister or their mom or their grandma. It doesn't matter. When they look at their hair, they come up with a system. They say, all right, okay, woo. All right, first thing we're going to do is, and then they start there. Well, first we're going to wash it, then we're going to moisturize, then we're going to do this, then we're going to part it, then we're going to start these braids, and then eventually as they start working the system and they get to the very end, then it's a beautiful masterpiece. But the last part of the braiding, I noticed that that's the easiest part. They start here and it's all difficult, but by the time they get to the end of the last braid, and they're moving fast. Why? Because they've gone through, they already knew what they wanted to accomplish at the end. Now, this is, of course, a backwards illustration because this is taking something that's like bushy and out there and then creating order. But what if you take something that's sort of like ordered and you want to destroy it? Then you need the same type of a system, but you need the system to be backwards. So you look at something and you look at its strengths and you look at the power of it, but you approach it the same way. You go, okay, I see how powerful this is, how strong it is, how great it is, and how it seems to be, impenetrable. It seems to be, undefeatable. it seems to be, permanent, powerful. So then the question is, if I want to destroy this thing, how can I destroy it? And of course, everybody knows if it is something that's big and powerful, you got to create a system. You have to have a system in order to bring it down. And why? Because without a system, it wouldn't come down. Well, if it's a big and powerful thing, then it won't fall unless there's a system that somebody set up a system in order to make it fall. All right. So let me explain that let me bring that. Oh man, Mario, 10 minutes. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, quickly. Let's just take the Americas, for instance, and how they were conquered by the European, and they killed pretty much all the natives or put them on reservations, and of course through bloodshed and war and thievery and raping and pillaging, and man, it was a bloody mess. 60-something wars and continual bloodshed and killing and taking people's land and calling themselves settlers instead of being terrorists, which they really were, and then bringing over Israelites and enslaving them, and then causing all that torture, whatever. They were able to, by the power of Satan, they were able to make the greatest nation that the world had ever seen. And this powerful satanic nation did it basically on the backs of slaves. It's really the children of Israel and others. It became powerful because they were using certain principles that set this nation apart, I would say, than say like previous nations. It set this nation apart experiment-wise. And of course, having all of world history to learn from, this nation started out, I'm talking about the Americans, I'm talking about the Europeans now that came to the Americas. They started out with a particular fundamental base of understanding amongst white supremacists. And what they wanted was a purely white supremacist nation. And they wanted to make it strong, they wanted to make it powerful, they wanted to make it off the backs of everybody else so that they could be the masters, everybody else would be their slaves. And that would be utopia, that would be making America great. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that part up, because it's important, is that when this country, quote unquote, became great, there was a lot of fundamental things that as a nation it did to make it great, to make it strong, right? To make it powerful, to make, now I think that all these great nations and all these great empires are all evil, but nevertheless, in order to be an empire, you have to be evil. It's just, the only person who's going to have a perfect empire will be Hamashiach. He will be the perfect king. But every other people, their kingdoms are satanic. All right, where did I get off? So there were certain principles that were put in place in order to systematically make a great nation. Now, I dealt way longer than I wanted to on this systematic, because I had 3 other points I was going to make. But I just want you to see something. When these people get and say they are systematically destroying our country, right? What I want to say to that is, you're 100% correct. This country is being systematically torn down. It is being systematically destroyed. It is not accidentally destroyed. There is a system in place where people are sitting around somewhere. I'm going to talk about this in the next video because my time is running out. And they are plotting the demise and the destruction of the United States, the so-called United States of America and other European nations. It is not an accident. It is on purpose. That's why I've been telling y'all, you got to get out of Babylon. You got to get out. You have to. You got to get out this system, because this system is this nation and the system that it's under now is designed for destruction. It's not designed for greatness. It's designed for failure. And it's failing, and it's fallen, and you can see it. We saw it in the so-called presidential debate. I'm not getting to that right now, but you saw it. You got a chance with your own eyes to see that the people that are systematically destroying the nation are succeeding. And they're succeeding because Yah is letting them succeed. He's allowing it. All right, I went a little longer on this video than I wanted to, but if it made sense to you and you understand it, and even if it didn't, listen to it again. Why? Because by understanding that this is a system and it is systematically being destroyed on purpose, it might stimulate your thinking enough to say, well, then maybe I need to detach myself from this wicked system. And if you come to that conclusion, then you're on your way to being restored, where you can be restored, the restoration process. And the reconciliation process can then begin. And it begins with our King, and it begins in Torah, returning to the Elohim of our fathers. And of course, eagerly waiting our King's return. One love, Zion, of course. And as always, you know I love you. Pray that you love me. Pray that we work together. Oh, support the work of the ARK. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Because we are full-time ministry. Appreciate whatever it is you can do to help us to stay full-time, teaching, preaching, and sharing the good news of our King and helping to wake up Jacob. It won't be long now, and we're going to be going home, so keep looking up. Our redemption is drawing nigh. Shalom.